Welcome to the My Fountain Online edition of the award-winning Channel 6 Scoreboard. I'm your host, Kara Kellerman, joined with AJ Harper and JD Williams. How are you guys doing?
Doing pretty good.
Awesome. Now, how does the football team look after this Saturday's scrimmage?
You know, I think they look good. I mean, they come out, they're very athletic. We do know that there's a lot of experience on the defensive side of the ball. There's clearly a lot of positions to fill on the offensive side of the ball. But Winrick, the senior quarterback, we've got a lot of quarterbacks on this team, got a lot of depth at some of the key positions. And I think that the offensive line was really refortified after last season where there was so little depth, I guess you would say. So I think that they're going to be a very good team. I just think that the skill positions we're going to have to see who rises to the top.
Out of the team, I didn't see a lot of explosiveness out of that receiver spot, but signing day we saw they're bringing in a lot of guys who are quick, who can catch the ball and make those big plays. So we'll see how that kind of goes. And as AJ said, the offensive line looked great, and some I saw out of Winter. He's got a little more pocket presence about him. I think he feels a little more where defenders are coming from. I saw him roll out a lot. And that's really encouraging to see. He made a lot of good running plays, a lot of good passing plays. So good to see that he is, while the offensive line is getting better, he's also getting better at being in the pocket, getting out of pressure. Backups look pretty good as well. So I think, if Winrick does go down, Ryan Howard was there. I don't think he looked great. He did have one good drive that, ended with a sack. So, he wasn't all the way there. But, backups do look good, and in these spring games, that's something you're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, Winrick having a full season starting last year and doing so well, it just helps his confidence. It goes through the roof. So I think with the experience, I do think he's going to be a little bit more even-keeled. He's going to make better decisions this year, and I think that he's going to have a great season. And you mentioned the backups. At the quarterback position, you always need a good backup. Even Winrick, his first, playing time came as a backup. So hopefully the backups will continue to work hard throughout the spring, and we'll see where the quarterbacks go.
And just one last thing about Winrick. Remember last year he was hurt during spring practices, wasn't able to get in his work. So it's good to see him out here working now, getting the reps in, and that'll I think, make them better going into the season. And right now the team looks really good, and I'm really excited to see who they can put into these positions when the freshmen get here. And I think this team's looking really good right now. It's just a continuation of last year, basically.
What are you hoping to see from the team in this Saturday spring game?
I think I've seen enough out of the starters at this point, or at least the starters who we know are going to be there. There are the guys in there who may get replaced by freshmen, but I think we've seen enough out of them. Jacoby Walker came in as the Wildcat back, and I really liked what they were doing with him. He didn't have a lot of success, but I think if they get this package down, Jacoby, while I think we can pretty much say he's not going to be quarterback here, he's not going to take the mantle from Winrick or anything like that, but I think he could be that game changer they could bring in, especially if the running game's not working, if Willie Matthews doesn't have it one game. Bring him in a few plays. He can throw. He's a quarterback. So I think I'm most excited to see something like that out of him, and also just kind of seeing what the backups have. People are going to get hurt, and I just want to see what we got in, the second, third string type players.
Yeah, well, Jacoby Walker, you look at the roster and he's listed as a wide receiver, so that's going to be interesting to see how that experiment goes. Splitting time between the outside and Wildcat quarterback, I'm sure we'll see a few looks at that this season. But that's going to be a very interesting thing to follow. But once again, we've talked about it a few times. The position with holes is what I'm going to be looking for. I want to see somebody stand out. And you mentioned Willie Matthews has looked good, but I'm curious to see how the running backs are really going to do in this game. The offensive line, I think, have got to show that they have the depth. I mean, they've got the bodies, but they've got to show that they can play. So I'm curious to see all offensive side of the ball for me. I mentioned the cornerbacks, but for me, I'm going to be watching for the running backs and offensive line.
And that'll do it for this edition of My Fountain Online Channel 6 Scoreboard. Be sure to tune in next week when we do a recap of the spring scrimmage game.